Born in Russia, but a true world citizen from an early age, she was a multi-instrumentalist musical wizard. I'm the classical nerd, and today we're talking about Sophie-Carmen Eckhardt-Gramatté. That's a mouthful. She was born in Moscow in 1899, where her mother worked for the Tolstoy family. Her musical ability was inherited from her Rubinstein-trained pianist mother, but her parents' marriage derailed before she was born, and so she was sent off at a very young age to live with foster parents in England, before eventually being reunited with her mother and entering the Paris Conservatoire at the age of 8. She was equal parts pianist and violinist, and played both instruments in concerts around the European continent, starting at age 11, performing concerti and improvising. It's also important to note that she did not have any formal violin training before entering the Conservatoire. After she graduated at the age of 15, she supported herself, her mother, and her sister in Berlin through her performances. But while her livelihood depended on these performances, she really wanted to compose, something that she had gotten a taste of while at the Conservatoire. She married the artist Walter Gramatté in 1920, and this freed her up, financially speaking, to pursue all the compositional activities that had to be pushed to the back burner for so long. The couple's travels took them to Spain, where they met the cellist Pablo Casals, but she had to return to the performing life less than a decade later, after her husband's death from intestinal tuberculosis, what we now know as Crohn's disease. But not to worry, she had written both violin and piano concerti, and she was the soloist in both. Her second marriage came in 1934 to Ferdinand Eckhardt, an admirer of her first husband's art. This cemented her long name, and in 1939 the couple moved to Vienna. After 1954, much of her life was spent in, of all places, Winnipeg, Manitoba. There she settled down and fulfilled commissions and became an active part of the burgeoning musical life on the Canadian prairies. Her death in 1974 came in Stuttgart as a result of a freak accident. She fell while on a bus and broke a bone, and she died while they were setting it. Since then, her legacy has endured through the Winnipeg-based foundation bearing her name. As a performer, she was, according to the Chicago Evening Post, an interesting personality, businesslike and straight to the point, with none of the airs of the virtuoso. As a composer, most of her work tends toward late Romanticism, although her later work tends more towards modernism. She was no stranger to incorporating vastly different elements in her work. Her piano sonatas range from the neo-Baroque to serialism, all coming together to form a relentless, energetic storm, with notes always cascading forward and bursting with energy. Raw energy combined with traditional techniques makes for some of the most powerful and idiosyncratic pieces that have been overlooked by history.